Welcome to the MANNA Method. I'm Franco Manna. What are you afraid of? Let me ask you a question you may not want to answer. What are you afraid of? Because sometimes the greatest thing standing between you and the life you were meant to live isn't failure. It's the fear of taking the first step. The top barriers that keep us stuck and in fear are: the first one is we are afraid of failure. We become paralyzed and terrified that we won't become successful. But sometimes the biggest failure is never trying. We don't need the entire path before taking the first step, because failure can also be information, a new direction, and a new, different experience. What can really happen if we do fail? Maybe we will learn something new about ourselves. Maybe it will guide us to a better option that will align us to our goals and dreams. Ask yourself this: is your fear of failure keeping you from discovering your potential? A few episodes ago, I spoke about at the young age of 64 years old, I started to swim on my own. A phobia that was passed down to me from my parents. Sometimes the fear of failing becomes the reason we never begin. Take the first step and only complete the one lap at a time. Just turn your fork. That metaphor works in anything that's holding you back from moving forward. It's the people we grew up with that taught us that failure is unacceptable. But that's not a good reason not to try. The richest people in the world also failed at one time or another. You can't discover what you're capable of without taking change. Don't let the possibility of failure steal the possibility of becoming someone new. I shared in my last episode that I was a high school dropout. But that didn't stop me from becoming a successful businessman in the 80s and 90s. The number two reason is sometimes we are afraid of what people might say. The fear of judgment can keep us living someone else's expectations. We become prisoners of our others' opinion. Are you living your life or trying to impress someone else? To be a people pleaser can and will drain your energy. The only approval you need is your own. Not everyone will understand your journey, and they don't have to. We all have a different path in life to follow. There is only one way to your North Star. When you turn your fork around, your path becomes clearer as you go. Sometimes people resist your growth because they remember the person you used to be. I know in my case, I stayed small most of my life around family and friends, just to fit in and be accepted. Also, sometimes we are afraid to leave what is familiar to us. The unknown can feel frightening, scared, and overwhelming because we can't control it. What are you holding on to simply because it's familiar? It's like our safety blanket. Drinking alcohol was my safety blanket till the age of 44 years old. The drinking became my master. It changed my personality, my goals, my dreams, my relationships. Growth often requires stepping beyond what we're always known. Ask yourself this: what are you afraid you might lose by changing? What might you gain? Sometimes you must leave what you know to discover who you are. To discover a new direction we must refuse the old direction. In many cases, people think they are afraid it's too late. Well, once again, I say, I started writing, typing, and using the computer at the age of 43 years old. It's never too late. I was taking ballroom dance lessons on and off till in my late 40s or 50s. Age, mistakes, lost time, or missed opportunities can create regret. We convince ourselves that our opportunities has already passed. Ask yourself, what dream did you stop believing was possible? What could you still accomplish if you started today? Maybe you're not late. Maybe you're finally ready to start. It's never too late to become who you were meant to be. And the last one is afraid of becoming someone new. When I started to grow, heal, and transform into my new life, I lost a lot of people that I grew up with along the way. Yes, it's the hardest thing to accept, becoming the person God or your higher power made us to be. We all desire to walk in our own shoes, chase our dreams, our goals, and calling in life. That's the purpose in life. Real transformation requires leaving parts of our old identity behind. Removing the false mask we wore, peeling the layers that didn't belong to us, while taking back our energy. A person will never be happy or content with their life if they are living someone else's life. I remember one day, not too long ago, I am coming 67 years old now. One day I was looking in the mirror at myself while getting ready. I noticed I was wearing a sweater that my dad wore most of his life. It wasn't the same sweater. It was the same kind of style. I then noticed I was wearing the same kind of style shoes that he wore most of his life. That sort of disturbed me a little. The first thing I did, and the first thing that came to my mind was, Franco, you're living your dad's life. You're taking on his energy. The first thing I did was to remove that sweater and pair of shoes out of my life. It was like I made a statement to myself. From now on, I am going to live my own life. I'm not going to follow someone else's path. Becoming different can mean losing relationships, habits, or beliefs that once defined us. You may have to let go of who you were to make room for who you're becoming. Ask yourself, what part of your old identity are you still holding on to? What would you have to release to become the person you want to be? Your calling may require a version of you that you've never been before. I went from being in the food industry for more than 25 years as a businessman to becoming an author, speaker. If my life can change like that, I know the sky is the limit for yourself. What if you're becoming someone new, exactly what your life is asking of you? Don't be afraid of becoming someone you've never been. That may be that person you were meant to be. Every day, life puts another fork in the road in front of you. One direction is familiar, the other direction requires courage. And sometimes the question isn't whether you're afraid. The question is, are you willing to turn your fork anyway? Thank you for spending time with me. I'm Franco. If this episode challenged you or gave you a new perspective, please share it with someone who might need it. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss another episode of the MANNA Method. You can also visit www.themannamethod.org for books and for speaking events. Until next time, remember, one decision can change your direction, one step can change a life. And sometimes all it takes is to just turn your fork. I'm Franco. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.